Hare Krishna, Namaste, Chapter 18, which is entitled as Sannyasa Yoga. Sloka 61, Part 4. īśvaraḥ sarva-bhūtānāṁ hṛd-deśe Arjuna tiṣṭhati bhrāmayan sarva-bhūtāni yantrārūḍhāni māyayā. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. From the first half of the sloka, we understood that Krishna, Paramatma, is situated in everyone's heart. Now the question is, what is he doing there? Dhritarashtra asked a similar question to Sanjaya at the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Dharmakshetre gurukshetre samavedha yuyutsavaha mamaka pandavas chaiva kimakurvata Sanjaya. O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? Two parties are meeting in the battlefield. They are not going to have a family union. It is obvious that they are going to fight. So it was an unnecessary question asked by Dhritarashtra. But his intention of asking this is different, because he was in a fearful situation, knowing that Kurukshetra is a religious place. Yudhishthira is a religious person. One reason that he asked is Yudhishthira, being a religious person in that religious place, make it influence and change his mind not to fight. Or the place being very religious, Dharmakshetram, he may win. For that reason he was asking, what did they do when they gather in Kurukshetra? When a child goes to school, we don't ask, what is he doing there? Because it is obvious, children go to school to study. Now coming back to our original question, what is Krishna, the Paramatma, doing in our heart? This body is like a machine which has many parts, senses and sense organs. Just like we buy a new car which may be worth of some dollars, say $30,000. As soon as the car hits the road, the original value of the car start depreciating. Day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year. After some period, few years, it is no more $30,000. As the year goes, the value reduces. The parts of the car needs to be replaced, and at some point of time, the car becomes useless, where replacing becomes very expensive, or one may not find the parts anymore. Therefore, that car has to be given up and one needs to purchase a new car. The body that we get comes with the senses and organs. As the year goes, the parts like ankle, knees, leg, hip, lower back, shoulder, neck, teeth, eyes, etc. becomes problematic. We keep treating them, and at one point we get used to those problems. Then as the year goes, the body itself becomes no use. When that time comes, this machine called body cannot be used any further. The Jivatma leaves this machine and jumps into another new machine. Leaving of this machine is what generally called as death, and obtaining a new machine is called birth. After it gets a new machine, it continues the same business. Yantrārūḍhāni. The living entity get mounted on a machine, which is the body, with parts like organs and senses. And this is applicable to all the living entities. Sarva-bhūtāni. There is no exception to anyone. All the living entity needs to be mounted into this machine called body, so that the living entities can perform their activities. This we can understand as we have gone through this several times. But what does the Lord do inside? It is the Jivatma who has to take a birth, a body, to go through its karma. But what is the necessity for the Lord to be antaryami, to be situated in the heart of the living entities? Yantrārūḍhāni sarva-bhūtāni māyayā bhrāmayan. This Prakriti has manifested in the form of bodies and indriyas, senses, and the jivas are encased within these bodies. Mounted on the wheel of Prakriti, the Paramatma who is situated within the heart spins the jivas round and round like a ferry wheel, based on their gunas and according to individual karmas. The Lord regulates their activities accordingly. Again, what does He do? In short, He bewilders the Jivatma, bhrāmayan. He does that using the tool called māyayā, the body, which is of threefold gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. Here māyā doesn't mean illusion. It means something which is wonderful, amazing. That is the Prakriti. If we understand this, then we will know what to do to get freed from this Prakriti, from this machine. Otherwise, we will be going round and round into various machines called bodies. One side note to be aware of, which has been mentioned earlier as well, that this material world is called Prakrita Mandala. That is, everything is made of Prakriti. Everything is matter. In other words, everything below Viraja Nadi are said to be Prakritam, Prakrita Mandala. Whereas everything above the Viraja Nadi is called Aprakritam. So below Viraja Nadi it is Leela Vibhuti, and above Viraja Nadi is Nitya Vibhuti. We went through this in the 15th chapter, 6th sloka. Interestingly, within this Prakrita Loka Mandala, there is Aprakrita thing as well. That is nothing other than ourselves, the Jivatmas. The Jivatmas are not matter, they are not Prakriti. It is spiritual, Aprakritam. All the Jivatmas are spiritual entity. It is only the body which is made of Panchabhuta, but not the Jivatmas, the living entities. But unfortunately, because of the karma vasana, these living entities get a body which is of three modes, and the Lord who is situated in the heart of the Jivatma spins the Jivatma, meaning through the three modes, and with the body bewilders the Jivatma to perform and engage in certain activities. He does this completely based on individual Jivatma's karmas. Now, if God is cause of all causes, He has sarva-karanatvam, He creates this universe. Does He also creates the Jivatmas? By now, we should be 100% confident to answer no. Then why do we often hear the Jivatmas are created by the Lord? When we hear such statements, it is not that Jivatma gets created. When the Jivatma gets a body, that is when it is said Jivatmas are created. But in actuality, it is not the Jivatma which gets created, but the bodies are created for the Jivatma to be mounted. When the body is created for the respective Jivatmas, that body is based on three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. The proportion of these three gunas are completely based on the previous karmas and vasanas. So the body that one obtains is completely in favor of one's gunas and karmas from the previous lives. So we should be clear that Krishna does not randomly assign a body to us. He doesn't gamble with us. From this, it should be clear that Jivatma has its free will given by the Lord. Since it has that little bit of swatantriyam, independence, in the form of free will, there is no question who is the doer. Kartritvam belongs to the Jivas. The Jivas has the doership, and they function based on the strength of the vasanas, vasana bhalam. And the Lord, who is situated in the heart, oversees and sanctions the Jivatma's actions. Therefore, the Lord continues to have his sarva-karanatvam. One important thing that we must understand is the Lord has not just given us this body so that we can suffer for our past deeds, though that is part of the program, but there's a higher reason. Using this body, one must strive to follow the instructions given by Krishna and practice that in day-to-day life, develop bhakti, love towards Krishna, where he becomes pleased and helps us to remove our karma and finally attain the Supreme Lord. The living entities are sentient beings. They are conscious entities. They have knowledge. Through the knowledge, they identify the sense objects, then develop desire towards those sense objects, and thirdly, they perform action to obtain those sense objects. Karma means action, karya. When one repeatedly performs an action, that action becomes one's nature or habit, and such habits drives one to perform the similar action again. That which drives one to do similar action is said to be vasanas. So by performing a karma repeatedly, a particular vasana get created, and that vasana makes one to do a similar action. By doing good karma, good activities, by engaging in good activities, one gets good vasanas. By engaging in bad karmas, one gets bad vasanas. So the Lord mounts the living entity into the body which has the sense and sense organs and shows the sense objects through these senses, and due to the vasanas that's present, the living entities get attracted to those objects which they are used to and develop ruchi, desire to obtain those objects, and they perform certain activities. So it is the Jivatma who performs the action based on its vasanas. Therefore, it is these vasanas which triggers the Jivatma to perform certain activities, which means the Lord does not, he himself triggers the Jivatma on his own choice. So no one can easily avoid the pullings of the vasanas. These vasanas drives one to perform certain activities. This is how the Jivatma spins in the body due to the vasanas caused by the karmas from the previous lives. So we got the answer for the questions. Arjuna's question was, if you become udāsīna, neutral, how is it possible for me to be pulled in the direction by the body? Answer that Krishna gives us, yes, you will function by yourself without me extending my hands to help you. But I must trigger you to do so, even those that you choose to do by yourself. And I do that through the tools called gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas, that's present in your body. Then Arjuna's question is, then why do you say yourself as udāsīna? Well, udāsīna is because you decide to do on your way, not following my instructions, my teachings. Udāsīna doesn't mean I will quit your heart and go somewhere else. I will be still there. And udāsīna doesn't mean I lost my sarva-kāranatvam or sarva-niyantritvam. I will stay within you and make things happen as per your karma vasanas, using these tools, the body and the three gunas. And you will have your kartritvam, doership, driven by your vasanas. So neither you will lose your kartritvam, nor I will lose my sarva-kāranatvam or sarva-niyantritvam. Therefore, Arjuna, you are going to fight. Your vasanas will not leave you so easily. If you listen to my instruction and perform this yuddha, then I will be there to help you. If you decide to fight on your own, driven by your vasanas, then I will be udāsīna. You will not get my help. I will just stay in your heart as a watcher, as an observer. Hearing this, Arjuna became concerned and had a question. If my vasanas are so powerful, it will drive me to do certain things, then how will I ever get out of this cycle? I am doing an action now because of my previous vasanas, and the previous vasanas are because of my previous activities, karmas. And the action that I am going to do now is going to strengthen my vasanas, which means in future I am going to do similar action. When will I ever be able to get out of this cycle, Krishna? Krishna says, well, there is only one way by which you can be out of this cycle, which will be revealed by Krishna in the next sloka. īśvaraḥ sarva-bhūtānāṁ hṛd-deśe Arjuna tiṣṭhati bhrāmayan sarva-bhūtāni yantrārūḍhāni māyayā. Namaste. Hare Krishna.